What do you think about the level of pain we remove from our kids? I'll give you an example so you know what I mean. My son had ACL surgery this year. There's moments in the last few months where you could just tell he's like bumming, right? He's not riding his dirt bike, he's not doing his stuff. And to some level, I'm like to his rescue, to his rescue, to his rescue. And then lately I've been trying to just give him space to like figure it out on his own. And so like one interesting thing for me is like I play acoustic guitar. I'd love it if he did. But like if I ever
Mhm.
suggested it as an option, he would just be like, no, thanks. No thanks. And I had taught him when he was like a 10 or something. So he knew enough, like some basic chord. But then just randomly, I think the boredness finally just hit him the other day. And now he's been playing for hours on his own free will. Like there was like almost like enough pain of boredom that it's like, what else can I do? And this came as something. So as
Wow.
parents, I think sometimes we want to continue to rescue, rescue, rescue. What are your thoughts on that? Just a little wrap about, allowing your kid to experience pain. Because if we remove it all, then does it remove motivation for things like playing guitar? Simple example.
Oh yeah, totally does. Someone that I follow, Josh Latimer, he gets excited when his kids get in painful situations. When they get in a situation where they got to clean up the mess they made or, whatever, because he knows that pain is going to teach them. Like pain is such an educator. We're proponents of that. I love, and we read a book years ago. The guy's name is Danny Silk, and it's called Loving Your Kids on Purpose.
Mm,
And he does such a good job of teaching how to allow kids to walk through pain. And most times, what do we do as a parent? A kid does something and we're irritated, we're ticked off, you're grounded, you're this, you're that, right?
mm,
We just release these consequences on them that really teach them nothing. And then we move on. Well, what Danny does is he's like, oh, what are you going to do about that? Like, that's quite a situation you just put yourself in. And so he allowed his kids to walk through the pain of the choices they make and experience the consequences and then clean up their messes. Because, right, a lot of times as parents, our kids make a mess, we clean up the mess, and then we punish them. Or we try to hold them from pain. And, so we don't allow them to walk through certain things. But we've learned that pain is such a good educator, pain is such a good teacher. Man, we've had so many scenarios where a kid, hey, you have to do this, here's your chore. And what would a parent do? They get frustrated or they don't want, they feel bad because the kid's like, oh, I have all these chores. I have no friends. Nobody likes me. And then we totally bite and then we do it for them. I think pain is such a great teacher. We've got to let our kids walk through pain. It's literally, and we call it grit. My kids will all say, Mom, they're like, my wife's name is Tina. They're like, Tina's got grit. It's like a joke
mm.
in the house because
That's
Tina will
cool.
let you feel the pain. And so that's literally one of the questions on our franchise application. Do you have grit? People will be like, yes. And then I ask them, like, what does grit mean to you? Like, explain grit. Explain a situation where you had to use grit.
Hmm.
And normally that's a painful situation that you weren't rescued from and you had to walk through it.
Mm. So good. So good for us to have grit and for us to teach our kiddos that same thing. We talked about the role of the father, but if you had 2 minutes to talk to a new dad and you had these 2 minutes just to pass any wisdom on to him, what would you say to him as he's stepping into fatherhood?
We always have a fear of messing up, right? We're
Mm,
going to mess this up. And so what I tell parents is don't worry because you will. You
mm,
will mess it up. You will screw up. You will make many mistakes. We'll say like, oh, our kid's going to need counseling after they're, done with us. And it's like, you could do the best job and they'll still need counseling,
right.
right? Because your kid is unique. They have a specific brain chemistry of a way they see the world and interpret information and all this kind of stuff. So you just have to keep that in mind. You do the best that you can. And like my wife is really good at, when you mess up, tell your kid, hey, you know what? I actually
Mm,
messed up on that one. That
yeah.
was a mistake on my end. Sorry, I shouldn't have yelled at you. You know what? I should have asked you for more information before I just handed you this punishment. And it's so true because I call it a reaction versus a response. We're so quick to react in the moment instead of like process, take a minute. I'm elevating my emotions. Let me go think and then come back and respond. But to know when we do that, we have to repent to our children, to teach our children that, hey, it's okay to screw up and okay to ask for forgiveness. And just know, Dad, you're going to screw up. You're going to make many mistakes, but let your children see you apologize to them, to your wife, to others. It's such a powerful thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the reality is like we are humans, we are going to mess up. Let our kids see that to whatever, levels appropriate at their age and then apologize, work with them, let them see you growing as a human so that they'll follow that same path of like sanctification, right? This process we go through of life being a child of God.